Theory of action. If teachers define learning objectives, design tasks that address essential learning outcomes, and create visible assessment strategies, then students will know the learning objectives, understand what quality work looks like, and use learning strategies to achieve success.
Achievement goal. Students know the objectives they are trying to reach.
So how do you guys get marked in phys ed at Lester B Pearson?
So there's 4 categories, A, B, C, D, and we'll just briefly explain what each of the categories stand for.
So A stands for activity, and it's basically about how you develop and apply your skills being taught in phys ed.
So B is benefits health, and this is so we educate all our students and make sure they understand the importance of leading a healthy lifestyle. C is cooperation, so we make sure that all of our students at Lester B Pearson cooperate in fair play and they play with integrity so they don't cheat or anything.
And finally, D, do it daily for life. We encourage Lester B Pearson students to participate wholeheartedly and with their best effort.
We are assessed on many different levels. 50% of our mark is on our kitchen work. 30% of our mark is on paperwork that we do in the classroom with chef. And 20% of our mark is our food service days that we do at catering or just doing lunch service to our fellow students.
Factors contributing to the success include the use of outcome-based assessment, student and teacher assessment using rubrics. The rubrics are visible to learners, and periodic reflections.
So we've moved forward very substantially this year in understanding what the important outcomes are in each curriculum area, and then being able to communicate those to students so that students know exactly what it is they need to do.
Instructional goal. Teachers are intentional about the objectives they set for student learning and the tasks they design for students to meet these objectives.
Being a learning coach this semester has been one of the bright spots in my career, I think. It's allowed me to meet kids where they're at in a very real way and view them as I've always tried to view them as a whole student, not just as a person taking part in a curriculum.
She's always like an extra ear, someone you can always talk to about anything, whether it's about like your life or even about your school.
If you're struggling in your classes, you could just go to her and she's always there to help you. She'll be very straight up with you about what you're doing, what you can improve on, and she's just a very honest person in general.
And she takes the teaching to the next level.
So my question was, how did you feel about the math class yesterday?
كيف كان صف الماث امبارح? So he's saying that at first he doesn't really understand the instructions. She has to kind of explain to him exactly what he needs to do.
Okay. And is that more math or in English?
In English.
Social studies has made great strides in her outcomes. We've nailed down our outcomes. We're looking at previous tasks that we had, seeing whether they fit. We're going to tweak them as necessary.
So we started a few years ago with looking at our teacher logic bins and renaming them, regrouping them to reflect the program of studies outcomes, to talk about the key outcomes that were being measured and how we measured them.
We have our outcomes ready to go. We struggling with a little bit of naming to make sure our kids understand what they're supposed to be doing. We've been working very closely with Dennis Ritty and the Thirst model, but making it our own.
Because we're going to be detracking the Science 10-4, Science 14, Science 10, and taking each unit being from chemistry, biophysics, and global systems, say as teachers, what is it that we have to teach and how can we take that knowledge and those skills and the reasoning that we've now come up with, instead of saying Science 10-4, Science 14, that it's just grade 10 science. And we can now set up everything that there's different points of entry for the kids to come in, and from there, kids that were labeled before as just 10-4 and 14 can now see that, hey, you know what, I can do this work just like any other grade 10.
Students were successful when I was able to explain to them what the outcomes were. They were able to think about what outcomes they needed to meet. They had clear objectives, they knew they had timelines, they had a frame of reference, and they had the end goal of being successful, and that's what we were able to accomplish with a significant number of young people.
Well, I had to push myself and listen to the teachers, which gave me the best motivation. Mr. Pearson is one of the best motivators in school. He gave me all the time I needed. The key concepts that I have to do is nationalism, sovereignty, and nation state. Make a country that I wanted for myself, and basically I have to be like the president.
This is very important work because it's allowing our students to be more transparently involved in the learning process.